Hello and welcome back to the Gubba Homestead. I'm Gubba and today I'm going to be talking about wood stoves. I heat my homestead 100% with wood heating with this wood stove behind me that resides in my basement. Whenever I post about my wood stove on socials, I get a lot of questions, comments, and concerns. So I want to address some of those in this video and talk about the pros and cons of wood heating. I absolutely love my wood stove. I love the off-grid aspect of it, so I wouldn't change it for a thing, but I also do have a gas furnace that I can use if I want to. I haven't had to because my wood stove is extremely handy. Right behind me, obviously, is my wood stove. It's a Napoleon wood stove. It came with the house and it operates in my basement and it heats the whole entire upstairs plus down here. The way that it does it is I load it with wood, start a fire, and then these heat-induced fans distribute heat to the rest of my house, and then I have a fan that is hooked into my furnace that I plug in and it blows air into the duct system that is piped for my gas furnace. So the previous owners wanted to use this as their main heat source. I understand why. It's super warm, and they used the existing gas furnace to distribute the heat, and that is the same system that I use. A pro about wood stoves is the heat is so warm. I don't know how to explain it, but anybody who's been around a fire versus a furnace and just electric or gas heat, it is so much more warmth. There's more depth to it. I don't know how that works. There's also the quote that says, wood heat heats you 3 times: when you chop it, when you haul it, and when you burn it. So one of the cons of having wood heat is you have to source out wood. That can require being on waiting lists. I'm actually on a waiting list. I had a lot of wood that I acquired when I moved onto my homestead. Sourcing wood can be an issue. There's different types of wood. Like, for example, tamarack burns slow. That's a wood you'd want to burn at night. Fir burns faster. That's a wood that you'd want to burn during the day. So there's different woods that you have to be knowledgeable about to burn efficiently. You totally don't have to be knowledgeable, but it helps. But the con of having to haul wood, wherever you have your wood pile to the inside, I have a wood pile in the back that I then haul to my house in a farm vehicle, stack it around my house, and then I have to haul it downstairs. I don't know why the previous owners put this down here, but it would have been nice to have it on the main living quarters, but I completely understand because this heats the entire house. Heat rises, so I see that if the basement ever gets finished, it would heat down here and heat upstairs. So thinking about it that way, I see why. So one con is having to haul and then having to stack and find a place for your firewood. There is a pro in the midst of the con of having to haul the wood though, because that's how I get my exercise, is chopping and hauling and stacking wood. A few more cons that I can think about. One is the maintenance. So I have to load in firewood every few hours depending on how hot I'm burning this. If I am burning this extremely hot and it's stacked with wood and I have the air set to max, then I will have to load up more wood more often. But usually I am burning this on low with 2 to 3 logs in there at a time, and every few hours I'm loading in more wood. Before I go to bed, I completely stack this, but I usually wake up early, like around in between 4 to 6. Just because I don't know, that's why I wake up, and I come down here and I'll usually have to put a log on, but it could last. It'll just be on its very last embers. So the maintenance of having to consistently load this with wood, make sure it's going and it doesn't completely die, can be a hassle, especially if you're not home. I'm home all day, so it's not a big deal to me, but I can imagine if somebody was working and had to leave the house, this could be a bit of a pain. You'd have to get crafty with stacking it. It can also be a pain if I ever left and went on a trip and somebody had to house sit. I feel like that might be a pain for somebody house sitting. Another con is that it can be a bit messy. I mean, you're dealing with wood, so you're gonna get wood particles around, dirt. So I have to dedicate like one day a week where I will just clean up my basement, get all the wood particles out. I keep a shop vac on hand for that. So you'll have to keep that in mind. You will be tracking in wood chips and dirt along with the wood that is heating your fire. It's not that big of a deal to me, but it does take extra time. Whereas if you're using a furnace, I believe mainly the only maintenance you gotta do is change out the filter every few months. And if anything goes wrong, you do have to maintenance it, but you don't have to really clean up anything. One huge positive of wood stoves is you get wood ash that can be added to your compost. I add wood ash to my gardens, my compost. Chickens also love to go and bathe in it and pick through it, so wood ash is really great. That kind of goes along with the mess that you're gonna have. As you can see, I have wood ash along here that I have to clean up on my cleanup days. Another concern with wood stoves is fires. I do have fire extinguishers that I keep downstairs, but honestly, I feel like I'd be more concerned of a fire from my furnace than my wood stove. You would just have to clean out the chimney, which you can hire somebody to do, or every morning you can burn it extremely hot for about 15 minutes. There is a residue that will build up and it can cause issues in your chimney, but if you burn it hot in the morning, so I've been told by the last chimney cleaner I had out here, it will get rid of the residue. When you run a cold fire or like you let it die down a lot, that's when the cakey stuff can build up in your chimney and that can cause a fire. With all of these things considered, I still 100% would choose wood heat in my wood stove over any other type of heating. I feel like it heats efficiently and it heats my downstairs, my basement, and my entire upstairs. My thermostat does range depending on the weather outside. So if there's a really windy day, because my house has drafts through the windows, it's an old house, my house will get a little cold, like low 60s, but when it's just like a normal winter day, there's no harsh breeze, I sit anywhere between 65 to 69 degrees, more on the warmer side, and that is great and perfect for me. I don't have crazy heating bills. I'm not relying on a third party to heat my house. I can just go out in an emergency situation to my property, chop down some trees, get some wood myself, and have wood to burn. I can keep my house warm in the winter. I have winters, some really harsh winters sometimes, in any sort of situation. And I actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I do love having this in the basement because, again, in a survival situation, I wouldn't want everybody to know that I have a heated house, and this stays hidden in the basement. Even though I have to clean it, even though I have to haul wood, and there's some other things that could be looked at as downside, the maintenance of having to load in wood and whatnot, I absolutely love my wood stove, and I could not imagine using electric or a gas furnace ever again. I hope that this answers some of your questions. If you've been wondering about wood heat, 10 out of 10 would recommend. Being off grid and being able to be self-sufficient is so freedom giving that I want everybody to have that kind of feeling, to just know that you can provide for yourself. So don't do anything a gut wouldn't do. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and let me know your questions down in the comments. Bye!